Hello, fellow Deal Scouts. Welcome to another episode of the Deal Scout. I'm your hostess, Susan Reilly, and our guest today is Matthew Teifke. Matthew is going to share lessons learned from his mom on cleaning houses to buying houses. Welcome, Matthew. Glad you're here today.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Thank you guys for listening, and let's get into it.
Awesome. Yeah, let's get started. So, Matthew, I like to open each interview learning more about you. Would you mind if we start there?
That'd be great.
Cool. Well, so tell me, what was your childhood like, and what do you think maybe in your childhood or as a teenager, your adolescence period into young adulthood, what do you think made you want to become an investor and entrepreneur?
Yeah, for me, it's pretty clear. It was my mom, and as far as growing up, I grew up playing sports, baseball, and I had a younger brother, and my mom was a single mom, and we moved from Cleveland, Ohio. I was born in Ohio, and I moved to Texas when I was 3 years old. And my mom was literally cleaning houses. I remember being at houses and she was cleaning them. And by the time I was 16, she owned like 15 or 16 rental properties.
Wow.
So I was able to see her do that. And she worked extremely hard. She was always working, really. I think she had three phones. And I just saw her build a real estate empire in a sense and what it required. And it was inspiring. And so once I learned about, hey, you can go buy this house and somebody else will pay it off for you, I was hooked. And I was working different jobs throughout high school. And I just remember looking at the clock and saying, I don't want to look at the clock and, wish that time would speed by. And real estate just seemed like such a clear, easy for me to understand path.
Mhm.
And yeah, it started with just watching my mom do it.
How did she do that? How did she cleaning houses save enough money to buy that many rental properties? That's amazing.
Um, well, it's not as complicated as it might seem to some people, but she would save 10, 15, 20,000 somehow every year. Um, and she would buy a house
Mm.
and she would do it again and she would buy a house and she would do it again and she'd buy a house. So then she might refinance or sell a house or whatever she did. But um, I don't even know if she knows how she did it because she says it was kind of a blur.
Hmm.
Uh, because like she was literally my dad. He's a good guy, but he didn't raise us, and he wasn't around helping her like with the boys, and so she was, I don't know, taking us to baseball, working, buying houses. I don't know how she did it. Uh, I think it's fascinating that humans, we all just do whatever we need to make things happen, and we can probably accomplish more than we realize. And I
Hmm.
think it was a big blur for her, from what I understand.
Right.
And I mean, she asked me, this is like on a personal level, but she always asked me like, was I a good mom? And did I let you down? And I'm like, not at all, mom. I mean, yes, you were a good mom. You did not let me down. But it's not easy. I mean, I got two boys and I'm married, and it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
I honestly don't know how she pulled it off, but she did.
Yeah.
And she's still to this day just a huge support for me and an inspiration. And she just was very disciplined. I mean, she didn't spend money on anything other than food, and buying real estate is
Hmm.
what I assume.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, she must have been really good with money, with all her income coming in and how she spent it and saved it. And she must have been, yeah, really good at
Yeah,
that.
and also she ended up getting a good job, so she wasn't cleaning houses the whole time. She ended up working at an asphalt and paving company, and she was doing sales for striping parking lots. And she was the number one salesperson probably in all of Austin, Texas, and Central Texas. But Then she started making pretty good money, um, probably when I was like 6 or 7, and she was making, 150, 160,000 a year. So then she was maybe buying 2 or 3 houses a year during that time period.
Right, right. Yeah.
And
Wow.
they were really affordable. Like these were like $120,000 houses, $70,000 houses, $90,000 houses, and she bought them in Austin where like 10 years later they're worth 350 or 450.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Do you think she knew that they were going to be worth that? They were going to appreciate that much?
No, I
Mm.
don't know how she would have. She really didn't even know that much about real estate, which is the interesting thing. She knows the basics, and she built the team. She had a good realtor, she had a property manager, she was very trusting with people.
Mm-hmm.
And so she didn't even really like get too much into these analysis spreadsheet science of it all.
Mm-hmm.
She just was making moves and taking action with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It sounds like she was maybe more interested in the cash flow of the rental income, but not necessarily the appreciation. You think that's true?
Yeah, but partially, I mean, mostly in from what I've seen too, I've been doing this for 16 years now, is most of these single family homes, at the end of the day, they don't really cash flow that much, if any. And
Mm-hmm.
so I really think that was a little bit of it, but it was more like, hey, in 30 years, these will be paid off.
Mm-hmm.
Because, let's say you buy it for 90,000. I mean, your mortgage is going to be $600 a month.
Mm-hmm.
You might be getting $1,200 in rent, but you're paying $5,000 in taxes and $2,000 in insurance and then any kind of expense. So they pretty much break even. I mean,
Yeah.
most single family homes, unless you just buy them cash, but they still don't cash flow that much.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
So it was a very long term, hey, 30 years from now, this is my retirement mindset.
Yeah. Well, so with that experience in your young life, you started in real estate too, pretty early, didn't you?
I did, yeah, 18 years old.
Wow. What did you do?
I was a realtor. I was
Oh,
going to college and I got my license and
uh-huh.
I started helping people buy and sell and lease houses.
Oh. So you have two companies. Let's talk about Teifke Real Estate first. You have did you tell me you have 140 agents?
We
Mhm.
probably have
Okay.
about 110 or so.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah.
With the market shift, a lot of people have got out of the business
Mhm.
and brokerage is so competitive. And so people, go to another brokerage for this reason or that reason. And we have a pretty clear vision and mindset with the brokerage.
Mhm.
It's not the primary focus. And so just over time, it's kind of slowly uh, shrinking. It's interesting, because we love it and it does make money. It's just not our passion.
Mhm.
And so I used to be the one growing it and meeting 5 to 10 agents a week or maybe even a day a lot of times. And now I'm not doing that. And
Mhm.
so my perception of brokerages is they're always losing and gaining. But if you're not gaining, you're just pretty much slowly losing. But we have a core group that have been with us for a long time, and we really encourage, hey, come be an entrepreneur and help people buy and sell, but also invest and own real estate yourself.
Right. Right. So in your I want to talk more about that, but let me just ask you one thing. You're in the Austin market, right?
Yeah, Austin's our primary market.
Okay.
We have people in Dallas, Houston,
Oh,
one,
okay.
two in San Antonio, and also Corpus Christi.
Gotcha. Okay. So you're spread out over Texas.
Yeah,
Wow.
but really like 85% in Austin.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Well, what sets Teifke Real Estate apart from other brokerages? What do you think makes you different?
Um, I think the big difference is the entrepreneurial spirit. Um, we say, hey, come and flip and own and invest and partner and wholesale and do subject to. And there's some brokerages like that, but not many.
Hmm.
Uh, I get calls all the time from agents at other brokerages, and they said, my brokerage can't allow me to do this. Can I do it with you guys? And so we're more on the not going to tell you no type path.
Right.
Uh, and also, the dream and the vision really for my perspective is for agents to be able to go and meet with a homeowner or a buyer and give them a lot of different options and not just this one traditional path, right?
Right.
So I could sit down with you, Susan, and say, hey, why do you want to sell? What do you want to do with the money? And really through that process, come up with a bunch of different options that aren't simply, putting a sign up and selling it,
Mhm.
and then let you pick between those options. But me not to be only focused on making a commission, but really being like a real estate consultant.
So interesting. Well, what do you think is the one of your big deals that you've had in the past, and what do you think? What was the deal? How did it happen? And what did you learn from it?
Well, right now we're buying two big apartment complexes in San Antonio.
Okay.
Uh, one's a 215 unit and one's a 452 unit. And we've raised capital, raised about 7.5 million, and we're waiting on Fannie and Freddie to approve and finalize these deals. But tremendous amount of learning on how to raise capital. I've been going to different events and meeting people and doing podcasts, and
Hmm.
I teach a class every week and like building trust. A lot there, a lot on getting these loans approved. We had to bring in a KP that showed liquidity. We needed somebody that had $4 million in liquidity to help us get this approved, and we had to, pay a fee. We're gonna have to pay a fee at closing and bring them into the GP. So just learning these different intricacies of what's required to bring all these things together. How can we do it better the next time? Right now, we're looking for our next deal. We've got 4 offers out on properties and trying to get the sellers to come to our price.
Okay.
But really just the value of scale. And like for 16 years, I've bought single family and mobile home park and different assets like that. And now these two big deals are more than all of those combined in one year.
Hmm.
And so like just how these things can really snowball. And all of a sudden, we're doing a $16 million deal and a $37 million deal. And now a $10 million deal feels small, whereas that would never have felt like that in the past. And it doesn't mean, for at least the way that we have everything set up, like I'm not buying these and all of a sudden I can retire. I mean, there's so much work, and I got partners, and they're great deals, but you've got to keep growing, right?
Hmm.
Will be good and they'll be very helpful, but um, just to give listeners insight, like kind of full value add if I can. It's like we buy a $37 million deal. I personally maybe will make like 5 grand a month on that, right? And so that's very good and helpful, but it's not like, retirement type stuff. So I got to go do 20 of these type deals
Right. Right.
and be patient, right? And not force them. I mean, we didn't buy anything in 21 or 20 where a lot of these people did, and they're in bad situations. And so we were patient. Um, and we bought these two, and now it's like, it's these were relative, I wouldn't say easy, but like there was not that much competition. We kind of got it at the right time in the market. Now we're like actively looking, I mean, as hard as possible. And I'm like, man, this window to find these deals might have somewhat closed. And so I don't want to go force deals again, but we do need to buy more real estate for what we want to do.
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing that the apartments are the two apartments that you have going right now. Those are really under the TR3 Capital.
But yeah,
So did buying the single family homes and now moving into buying apartment complexes, is that what kind of spurred creating TR3 Capital?
yeah, it was always the dream to acquire. I mean, even when I was a real estate agent, going back to watching what my mom did,
Hmm.
that's always what I wanted to do was to own and to buy and invest. And I figured in my head, hey, if I can learn as much as possible how other people buy and other people sell and really be a student of the game, then I'll be a better investor. So this was always part of the plan, but it wasn't always part of the plan for my mind to in my mind to be raising and to be syndicating. I just thought maybe I would be buying these on my own. And over time, I just realized like I'm so limited by myself. So syndicating's the way to do it, and it's pretty much what everybody does.
Hmm.
Any building you look at anywhere, I mean, most people are buying that as a group. And so I wish I would have started this a long time ago, but that's easy to say now.
Yeah. Well, your mom buying home with saving up 10 or like we talked about a little bit ago, saving up 10 or 20,000 and then buying homes. That's was I assume was 30 years ago or so, which when houses prices were so much lower, right? And now if you want apartments, I mean, you got to have some money to go buy an apartment if it's any size. So it's going to be a long time cleaning houses to be able to, yeah, I'm being sarcastic in a way, but it's
Oh
going to
yeah,
be a long time, to build that capital. So you really do need to invest with other people, don't you?
yeah, you
Yeah,
do. And like I said, I mean, you go look downtown at any building, any office building, like it's all groups of people, whether that be like some large institution, that's still probably capital that is pooled together. So that's just how it's done.
right. Yeah. Well, how do you choose the deals that you are invested in?
Uh, we're hyper focused on specific markets. That's the first parameter.
Hmm.
Really like San Antonio, really like Austin. I like the idea of having properties in both because you can get a hybrid of cash flow and appreciation. And it's really dependent on the environment of the market. So right now, there's just a lot of opportunity with multifamily properties that have debt coming due or debt that's adjusting. And so that's the focus is, hey, let's find properties that are doing well, but you can buy at a discount because of the debt, and you can take over maybe assumable loan or buy something where it's creative as far as owner financing or rate caps. And so that's the current opportunity that I see in the market, right? And then if the market shifts, if interest rates drop like crazy, and maybe there was like some kind of new law about, no more RV parks or whatever it may be, maybe that's the opportunity. So it's just entrepreneurial mindset within the real estate space, and then just really looking for discounts and looking for motivation on the seller side, and us being able to come in and give surety of close, right? And that also came back to my mom, where I'd find her a house and I'd say, hey, here's this property and it's a good deal at, it's listed at 120 and it's a good deal at 90. And she'd say, offer him 70. I'm like, Mom, I already told you it's a good deal at 90. We'd offer 70 and sometimes we'd get it. So I saw the
Right.
aggressive, hold your price, they'll come to it path. And that has been a thing that I've definitely adopted.
Yeah. That was a lesson from mom, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Offer with that nice big wide spread there that you've got so that you can be assured that you're going to make money.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
the ones we're buying, the apartments we're buying now.
Yeah.
One of them, the owner bought for 44 million and they put 2 million into it, and we're buying it for 37 million.
Wow.
And the other one they bought for 21 and we're buying for 16. So
Yeah.
they're taking a loss on what, unfortunately,
Right.
um, but we feel like we're getting a really great deal on them.
Well, it sounds like you are. Yeah. So your buy box then, San Antonio or Austin. And are you sticking mostly then with multifamily, or are you going outside that at all?
Yeah, no, right now, no, that's it.
Mhm.
100 units plus,
Okay.
1980s and newer,
Hmm.
B and C class properties, and that's really the buy box.
How do you approach raising capital?
Yeah, really, I feel like have taken this on as my role in the last year and a half,
Hmm.
but it's everything that I can think of. Doing stuff like this, meeting people. I went to a lot of events this year. I was in Arizona, Utah, Vegas, Florida, just at events.
Right.
I reach out to people regularly on LinkedIn that have fund of funds
Hmm.
Thursday, and I'm inviting like two or three people to it every single day.
Hmm.
Uh, and I just started that like 6 weeks ago, and got like email list of almost 300. And so like just constantly like getting my name out there, talking to people, trying to build trust, trying to share the deals on every social media, everybody I talk to, every platform, and trying to figure out how to get better at it. I'm really good at talking to brokers and having conversations and using leverage. And then when I talk to investors, I'm figuring out that conversation. It's an interesting one, because
Hmm.
you're building trust, but you're trying to get something done, and sometimes you're in a rush to pull it off, and there's a long game approach to it. So yeah, just try to be me the best I can, and just get exposure.
Do you feel like are your investors central to, I mean, located mostly in Texas? Or are they nationwide, or how's that?
Most of them are in Texas, but I would say 15% is outside of Texas.
Yeah. Okay. And so they're aware of these markets and they're interested in the markets. Is that one motivation for them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, and then I got a really good team. My two partners I've known my entire life. My mom, back to my mom.
Yeah.
She's like their mom. I mean, like literally, they talk to her every day. And so one of them, Robert, he was a Navy SEAL. He was my best friend growing up, and
Mhm.
the other one, Alex, was my brother's best friend. And so just got a great team and a good way that we approach things, and people feel like they know us quickly and can trust us. And I think a lot of it's betting on our team.
Yeah. What's the vision for the future of TR3 Capital?
We just want to keep owning and buying real estate, and
Yeah.
giving ourselves and our investors financial freedom, right?
Mhm.
Um, and we plan to be doing this for like 50 years. I mean, I'm not just trying to cash out and retire. Like I want to pass everything I'm doing to my kids, and I'd love
Mhm.
for other investors that like what we're doing to have that mindset, is like, let's just keep owning, keep building, almost like a, Berkshire Hathaway, concept, but within syndications in real estate, just as far as like the very long-term approach with it. I mean,
Mhm.
we're not like when we buy these apartments in San Antonio, we want to add value, but we're not trying to go put $2 million into it and sell it in 2 years or anything like that. It's like, I also think the real estate model of syndicating is probably going to change over time. But the value in real estate is always the long run, right? So
Mhm.
like if we buy this apartment for 16 million and in 10 years we sell it for 30 million, then we're going to go have to try and buy something else that we're never going to buy for 16 million for that many units. So like it's better to just keep them.
Well, you are an interesting guy, Matthew. I'm so glad you're here today. I bet you're a super busy guy too. And you already mentioned that you're married and you have kids. And how old are your kids?
They're 6 and 5, two
6 and
boys.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How do you balance that? How do you, a father, husband, business leader, entrepreneur, raising capital, running a brokerage? How do you balance all that? It's a lot.
Yeah, it's taken a long time to somewhat figure it out, but I just have like different time blocks in this. I'm not like extremely strict on it, but like we wake up and try to have breakfast with the family, and sometimes I'll be half working, sometimes not, depending.
Mhm.
But I try really hard from like 2 to 4 or 5 to shut it down, and then have dinner, and then we get the kids to bed around 6, 7:30 at the latest. But then I pick it back up again. So it's just like time blocking the best I can, but it's not easy. I mean, I feel like I fail at it often, uh, but just try and keep it in perspective on how fast things can go. And
Mhm.
it's they're so fun, and uh, then also it's like, hey, you guys got to calm down, and I got to get back to work. So it's just
Right.
trying my best at it, really.
Yeah, yeah. Well, is that with that busy life, what do you think? What in your closing thoughts, but what do you think about like your legacy, your impact, and generational wealth, and is what you're really what it sounds like you're building. So what do you think about that? And do you think your kids see that? They're pretty young. So,
Yeah, I mean, I try to teach. I really I try to teach them different things that I find valuable. I mean, I'm a big history guy. I'm also a Christian, and I try to teach them like they've memorized like the so far the first like 22 presidents, and like for whatever reason that is valuable to me that I would want to pass on to them.
mm-hmm.
So I just try to teach them and pass on things that I find valuable. And like I said, they're still so young, so it's like I don't know how much they care about some of this stuff yet, but
Right.
I kind of wish I would have had some of these little things, here and there. But I mean, my mom's already like all the properties that she bought. She already put in the trust for like she skipped me and my brother, and they're they're in the grandkids' names.
Okay.
So
Wow.
like she's kind of already done that for them too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Um,
Your mom sounds awesome.
she she is.
She really
She's a very
does. Yeah.
special person.
Yeah. She is. Nice. Wow. Well, it's been fun chatting with you. Thank you for being here today. I've enjoyed it. It's been good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate you, and yeah, I'd love to, be a resource for you or the listeners, and thank you for hearing me out.
Yeah. Well, fellow Deal Scouts, I invite you to reach out if you have further questions for myself or for Matthew, or if you're interested in participating in the TR3 Capital Fund. You can find a link below to be connected to him. And as you know, I'm always on the hunt for interesting guests like Matthew, where we can learn more about different and new types of deals because everybody loves a good investment, right? If you'd like to appear on the Deal Scout to talk about your deals, I'd love to hear from you. So reach out to me at susan@thedealscout.com, or again, click the link below. So that's it for now. Have a terrific day, and we will see you again soon. This is Susan with the Deal Scout signing off.